what's up.
Hey.
We're laughing because I hit the record button a minute and a half ago, and Chuck just kept talking about Japanese films.
Yeah. Oregon is red right now.
I mean, at the moment, Debbie and I are both exhausted as shit, so.
Yes.
I mean, by the time this airs, the tall man could be running around the world digging up people and turning them into munchkins. But, you know, we're here.
Why?
We're here with you to the end.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, I get it. You're talking. I know
the sky is red in Oregon right now.
He's talking about the red sky in California from the wildfires.
Oh.
He said it looks like the part when you look through the
gotcha.
pillars and Phantasm, yeah.
Well, that happens every year at this time, so.
We'll untangle that web
I've never seen it look that vivid, though.
No, it's new. It's not this bad normally.
My buddy Nathan, he lived in that area. They evacuated last year. And he went. They're like, okay, you can go back. Then the next day, they're like, you got to evacuate again.
Yeah.
Then they went back, and he's like, you've got to evacuate again. He sent me pictures. He's like, a car melted 3 blocks from my house. He goes,
yeah,
I fuck it. If I'm gonna burn up, I'm gonna burn up in my fucking house. I don't care.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's about how hurricanes work in New Orleans.
It went kind of like this way and shifted, so it bypassed his neighborhood. But he didn't leave a third time.
That's what hurricanes do in New Orleans, so I understand that mentality, even if I don't necessarily practice it myself. That being said, since everybody else has forgotten about it, remember Lake Charles. Anyway.
Remember the Alamo.
You got it or me? Shut up, Chuck.
There we go. So, wake up, boys. We're talking about one of the best movies of the year tonight.
I mean, we really are. Talking about The Invisible Man. And this was like the 2020. This was like the first blockbuster horror film that kind of went to theaters. And it actually stayed in theaters a while.
Yep. About 4 weeks before they decided just to start shutting all the things down. And then it still kept playing like drive-ins. Yeah.
I think it was even longer than that, man.
It was playing drive-ins forever. And so, like, there was a point 16 weeks into its run where it hit number 1 again, because what the fuck else are they playing?
That's awesome.
It kind of hit when the apocalypse started, right? So, I mean, it's like the last real hit in theaters, right? Like, is that what you can say? As of today?
In theaters, yeah, I'd say that's accurate, because Trolls World Tour, I don't think it ever actually got to theaters, so.
Yeah, so, like, nothing that's in theaters right now is really making any money, right? The Tenant ain't really making no money.
I mean, the Tenant's making global money, because there's more ones around the world making money out of it, but...
Yeah. Because this was the first movie to be $20 to rent on Vudu.
Yeah, they did it and Trolls at the same time, I think.
If I'm paying $20, I better be keeping it. I mean,
that's what I did. I paid $18 and kept the 4K, so...
Ticket prices are still $10 around here, you know.
And if you go to matinee time frame, you get like $5 to $7, $8 maybe.
Yeah, there's one theater where it's never been over 7, so.
Exactly.
It's junky, though. It's junky.
Which, brief news break just to point out, I don't know if you heard how Mulan went in terms of the fact that they said it was $30 to rent. And then they announced that in December, it's just going to be on Disney Plus anyway.
Right. So bombed?
Oh, it didn't bomb.
It was $30 to buy, and it would always be in your Disney Plus. But it's going to be on fucking Disney Plus anyway.
Yeah. So
I know people that bought it.
Brief discussion of this real quick.
No
people that fucking bought it.
No Mushu.
Fuck no, no Mushu, no songs, no nothing.
Look, man, Disney movies are fucking stupid to me, so I've never cared for...
The old school stuff was worthwhile, but this is just fucking boring.
I feel like it's probably all over the internet right now anyway.
Like, if I were to watch a live-action, like, Disney remake movie, it would probably be Mulan, because I didn't watch Aladdin. Fucking hate The Lion King all through. No interest. I've seen Beauty and the Beast, and it fucking sucked. I've watched it like 50 times because of my daughter.
Maleficent works well. Maleficent works really well.
She's not into that yet, so.
I'm a Tron guy myself.
I liked Moana. It was good.
Hey, the Pixar, the animation stuff tends to be pretty good still. Anyway.
Nightmare Before Christmas is Disney too.
That also came out in 1995, so.
Of course, and they re-release it every year. Anyway.
And it was a Touchstones picture, not Disney.
It's on Disney stuff, is it not?
But hey, well, we're at the.
It was Disney's money.
Yep.
And if you play the movie, it'll say Touchstone Pictures.
But anyway,
That's why Tim Burton and Disney had a falling out, because he took their money and went to another studio.
Oh, that's
And then he also didn't direct it like he said he would.
Who directed?
Henry Selick.
I thought it was Tim Burton.
Didn't I have this discussion on in the group chat like a few months ago?
I don't know.
Was it on the weekend? Because sometimes I'm not around on weekends. You know,
it might have been. It was when we were talking about Candyman and the discussion that everyone was saying it's Jordan Peele's Candyman, and I said, you do know, that movies like Nightmare Before Christmas. The thing is, we remember Nia DaCosta now because of what she did. The guy who made it, what's his name off the top of my head? I can't remember. It's like Sarketti or something. He made other shit before. He made Mama before he made it, but no one talks about Mama that way. They talk about Guillermo del Toro producing it. That's what they do. It just happens that way.
Well, at some point I thought Jordan Peele had something to do with The Invisible Man, but it's just the guy from Saw.
Leigh Whannell.
Leigh Whannell.
Yeah.
Leading into it, Leigh Whannell directed Invisible Man.
What a career he's had, right? What a career. You go from making Saw to, he's got his finger in everything now. Like, he's got a bunch of the Conjuring universe movies, right? Like, at least one or two.
I think that's mostly James Wan.
Yeah, James. He did Insidious 3. Leigh Whannell, I think.
Did you mean?
Yeah.
I thought he had something to do with it, though.
Might have.
One of them.
He also did Upgrade, the action movie. And I was looking on Wikipedia, and he said on Wikipedia that Blumhouse called him up after Upgrade, and he was thinking they were going to be asking him about that, and they went, "Yeah, that's great. You want to do a horror movie?" Or Universal called him up. And he thought it was going to be about Upgrade, and they're like, "No, we want you to do Invisible Man."
Well, the Universal horror movie. So this is the first one to come out when they pretty well decided they're just going to drop the whole Universal Monsters world, right?
So basically, they tried to do the Dark Universe, and Tom Cruise and that god-awful piece of garbage screwed everything up on them. And basically, they lost so much money on it that they said instead of trying to do a universe a la Marvel and DC, that they're going to do what they call director-driven films. So basically, they're going to stand alone, be the story the director wants to tell, etc. And when they first went to do it for the Universe one version, it was going to have Johnny Depp in it, which is ironic in a weird way. But when they finally came back around to it after the Dark Universe thing died, they still wanted to do it, but he had nothing to do with it at that point.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, they're also planning to do The Invisible Woman. I think it's supposed to be Elizabeth Banks is supposed to direct that. And they first were saying they weren't going to do a sequel, but now they're kind of saying they're in talks about a sequel to Invisible Man.
Is it going to be a direct sequel?
I have no idea, and I don't know how that would be possible if it was. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean,
why couldn't it?
It could be, depending on how this ends.
There are ways you could do it. It just might be strange.
Now you guys are gonna okay. So here comes my confession time. I've never actually fully watched the original Invisible Man.
So
it's better than this, in my opinion.
Really?
Not saying anything bad about this, but I think the Invisible Man's great.
It's Goob's personal favorite Universal Monster movie. But now, how close does this stay to that at all? Besides Man's Invisible? That's
absolutely none. Yeah, this is your fly, your thing. I was telling my wife earlier today, your House of Wax. It's completely, it's completely different. I actually looked it up because I haven't watched it yet either. I have it, but I haven't watched it yet. And basically, the original Invisible Man is more. There's a scientist. He finds this chemical, and the chemical has properties that make him into a madman. They don't just Yeah.
He's legitimately out of his fucking mind, and he does it so well. It's great. And you need to watch it, both of you.
I got the Blu-ray of it.
I'm planning. I think I have a DVD, but I'm planning to.
So basically, this has more in common with Hollow Man than the Invisible Man, huh?
Yeah, sort of.
I mean, they're trying to basically, which again, credit to them. They're trying to update it basically. Yeah. Back then, it was fear of science, so it's bleaching chemical makes them insane. Now it's privacy. There's more, but it's mostly privacy. Everything's got cameras, and it's about being safe even when you're alone heavily. And it's about technology, in terms of what beyond the obvious, which we'll get into, theme of the movie, there's also an undercurrent of, instead of science, it's tech and your privacy, basically.
Yeah,
so they kind of updated it that way too.
Yeah.
And the whole female captive empowerment.
Oh, I was going to get to that. I said we'll get to that. That's kind of, you can't discuss Invisible Man without discussing the major theme of the whole movie, which is that.
Yeah.
It's just the side thing is technology.
Yeah.
So who wants to hit plot?
Let's do it. Oh, by the way, Leigh Whannell has only directed 3 things, and it's Insidious 3, Upgrade, and this.
He's written some other stuff too, hasn't
Oh
he?
yeah, he's produced.
He wrote Cooties, didn't he?
He is. It says in production on Wikipedia, Wolfman, Escape from New York, and another Upgrade.
I was pretty sure he wrote Cooties.
Well, these are just. This is just directing.
I mean, just to point out, if you haven't seen Cooties, it's fucking amazing.
With Elijah Wood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tainted chicken nuggets.
Elijah Wood, Rainn Wilson, yeah.
I mean, if anybody's cool with punching a kid, it's me. So.
Yeah, he did Insidious Chapter 3. He also directed he wrote The Mule, he wrote Cooties. Obviously he wrote Dead Silence. And then he did writing on Saw 2. Some writing supposedly treatment-wise on the Saw video game, etc.
NEX.
Not in this movie though.
Nope. Yeah. And most of them he's in though.
I was gonna say, in fact, he acts in Cooties actually, but
And Insidious and all those movies.
Yeah.
So he's like me, just on another level.
But he's talented, yeah.
Yeah, quite a few levels.
Yes. I'm like here and he's here.
Sorry,
My
Chuck.
suggestion from yesterday still stands, by the way. We're not going to discuss it on the
air. Okay.
All
right. So Invisible Man. We have what was his name? Adrian, who he is a tech conglomerate.
It's Elon Musk.
Yeah, he is. And his specialty is with optics and cameras, and lighting. So he is in a very abusive relationship with his girlfriend, Cecilia. I had to look. I'm looking.
Oh, yeah.
Cecilia, Elizabeth Moss, right? It's her name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Funny looking. Yeah. Sorry, that's mean. So she leaves him, and of course he finds out. Wakes up in the middle of the night, chases her. Her sister picks her up, and essentially, she's free. She's living. She said, if there's a camera or anything, he can find me. I'm not leaving her friend's house, who is a police officer. So she's living there with him and his daughter.
Paints over a webcam.
Yeah. And she finds out that Adrian has died and left her $5 million or something. He committed suicide. And then obviously she signs it, takes the money, and she looks like she's going to start living life. She starts to leave her house. She goes shopping, and then strange things start happening around her friend's house where she's staying, and she believes that Adrian is there with her and fucking with her.
And they believe she's crazy because she suffers from post-traumatic stress.
Correct.
So,
I mean, that's the gist of it. But I was shocked at how long this movie is.
I'm just watching you guys try to jockey for position. What was that?
Go Chuck. Go.
No, I was just gonna say it was a lot more solid than I expected it to be. I enjoyed it. The only problem I really have at all with the movie is I think it takes a little bit to get going. But after that, it's really good. Yeah, it takes a little bit of build up, a little bit longer to get to the meat and potatoes of what you might want. But I do enjoy some of the tricks that comes along with trying to prove there's an invisible guy there and all that. And it legit gets creepy. So I'll let you say what you're going to say, Beard, before I say anything else.
I was just saying it's a bit too long. It does take a little too long to get to the quote unquote meat and potatoes, and it takes a long time to eat those meat and potatoes as well.
I'm actually going to disagree on the pacing. I think the pacing is pretty good, and I also why I said I was surprised is, I mean, the first thing in the movie is this elaborate, like 5-minute long sequence of her sneaking out of her house in the most covert, clandestine way she possibly can, and even though you don't know a single thing about her, it's pretty freaking intense.
Yeah, but then after that, though, you kind of slow down. Because then you got to establish.
I'm going to agree to disagree on that. Is all I'm going to say.
you got to establish that she's got some problems. You know, you get introduced to her friend and his daughter that she's staying with. You know,
like I said,
which opens up a whole barrel of issues there in itself. Because if she's crazy, you know, it becomes a problem. She becomes a danger to the kid, obviously, which he believes she's becoming when the invisible guy shows up and starts doing stuff. But which is another thing. Like in the latter half of the film, everybody thinks she's nuts, so that's a big issue. I think the movie is perfect from the point on, from the dinner scene with her sister on.
You know, that scene?
Yes, because that's like when you realize we're no longer playing around.
Oh, that was. Yeah. I didn't see it coming, and I was very impressed.
Yeah. So, again, I'm agree to disagree on that. That's actually probably my least favorite thing in the whole movie is that specific scene. Only because I don't understand why it needed to happen, given that, as you said, I don't disagree. You don't see it coming. You know, I'm not bashing the movie at all. You don't see it coming, obviously, but it's literally like just there. Like, I could explain, as I watch the movie, a reason for everything else to be there. And like I said, I don't think it's too overlong, and I think it's paced pretty well personally, but every time I thought about it, the one thing I was like, that can be cut is that death.
See, I don't think that scene can be cut, because then she wouldn't end up where she ends up, and you wouldn't have the plot twist that you have.
Yeah. But then she goes home, you know, to the other guy. You know, I mean, you could still have something similar happen, though.
Because as soon as that scene happened, that's when she, not a spoiler because you've watched trailers, I'm sure, anybody watching or listening, that she goes to a hospital. And from that point on, she is no longer in public with anybody.
I'm saying more that as the movie's structured, that character, who shall remain nameless, is in a position where she's written out at that point already before the scene happens. Like, something's already happened. She's taken care of. If she was never seen again in the movie, it would make sense, considering how that scene went. Not that you don't need to do a scene, like you're saying, to get her in hospital. I'm saying to bring her back to bring the character back just to do that. Instead of maybe working with a character who is still involved with the story, was what I was kind of getting at. That's all.
Well, they don't have the guts to do something like that with like the dude's daughter, obviously.
So, obviously not.
You know, so and then the guys, I guess he's too important to the story to do him that way.
Yeah.
So, but the process of elimination is the only person left.
Yeah, there's only 4 side characters in the entire film.
Yeah.
And one of them is the brother of Adrian, the lawyer.
Who seems shady anyway because he's a lawyer. So.
Of course. Yeah,
kind of weaselly.
It's not that I hated the scene or anything. It just rubbed me the wrong way in terms of position and placement. But again, that's personal preference. You know?
I like how this movie invented some tricks about the Invisible Man stuff that we saw later in Host.
Yeah, I was going to say, the one thing I also took away from this movie is I did not expect to watch Invisible Man and actively come away hating the hype over Host that much more. Because the blanket and things that you saw that, I don't even, not to get too far off topic, it actually made me stop and think, and I realized, I think I know why some people like Host so much. And I haven't mentioned it in the reviews yet very much, but I have this feeling people think that the invisible force that affects the seance is COVID.
Oh, yeah?
I think that's what people think, and that's why they think it's original, and that's why they think it's so, on the edge and stuff. And, I mean...
I'm sorry, wait a minute. What now?
You heard me. I feel like...
I know I heard you, but I don't fucking understand the word you just said.
I said, the seance. Okay,
yes.
In any other movie. Okay, the seance, of course, it's a ghost, etc. It's done in the pandemic. the reason that people, I'm not saying the movie intended it this way. I'm saying people are watching it and they're stuck in their houses, and this movie comes out about people on a Zoom call getting attacked by an invisible force or entity and getting killed. And I guarantee you there are some people who are projecting COVID onto the ghost in the movie. That's what I'm saying.
I never thought of it that way.
And it came to me while I was watching Invisible Man, because I'm like, God,
I don't ever want to think of it that way again.
I know,
Heck
right?
yeah.
It makes it worse, right? It just makes it freaking
So
worse.
now you get to do an article online somewhere and talk about this, right, openly, and it becomes
Oh,
a
I'm
big
sure I
thing.
can put it on Screen Rant and it'll get posted everywhere, and I'll be famous for a week.
A week, at least
At
two,
most.
maybe. Yeah.
But anyway, now we're done talking about the passable movie with the shitty fandom. Let's talk about the yeah, I said it. Let's get back to a good movie.
Yeah. Well, the only thing, besides the pace, the only other thing that you might say is a little bit of a turnoff about it was, I think maybe the ending's a little too contrived a little bit. Not to spoil anything, obviously, but I don't know. It seemed like, I know why they did it the way they did it, but it just, I don't know if that's satisfying enough, to me.
Like, before I get to the ending, there were a lot of things that I really liked about this movie, and I am not a fan of Elizabeth Moss. Not a fan of her at all. Didn't like her in Mad Men. Didn't like her in Get Him to the Greek. Didn't like her in anything else I've seen her in that I can't recall. I thought she was great in this movie. I mean, I thought she was phenomenal, and it really kind of her acting ability went like, this is me. I'm Elizabeth Moss. I can't act. I'm the same person and everything. To holy shit, she's fucking fantastic. I liked all of the. How often can I mean, at least me. How often can you say that you've liked every character in the movie? Because I really can't. And
Yeah.
I mean, and there's 5, right?
But that's the thing. If there's
6.
5, you better. If there's 6 total, you better. And
right.
they do it right.
And
you even on some
every
level
character
like some
is...
of the cops in the hospital. On some level, you barely see them, but you kind of like them too, just because like they're as freaked out as what's going on as anybody else.
I think some of the fight scenes are a little much. Like, for some of the things to happen, it's like there would be so much force to go behind that. I don't see how it's humanly possible for this guy to do some of these things.
Well, plus the implication, I thought about this as I was watching, because it's kind of same kind of thing. One of my other issues with it is, so all the fights you see, and they explain this later on, and they mention it, and they kind of like underline the fact that it's this way, which makes it even weirder. Right, he'd have to put so much force. He's leaving a lot of goddamn witnesses. There's no way he's killing half these people with a punch, or yeah.
And that's probably like the one bad thing about the restaurant scene is like, while it is cool, I think, for what it is, it's like, you tell me nobody notices, nobody's seen anything.
Yeah,
that's the only bad thing about it.
I mean, it was a pretty pompous ass fucking restaurant, so
that is true.
I do like the paint scene. Like, the paint scene is probably one of my favorite scenes. But I think that's
great in this, just in general, like the way they show the yeah, absolutely, that includes that. Yeah.
Seems like a lot to clean up, though, don't it?
Oh, sure.
I mean, like,
and that he got much of a trail from where he was at to get to clean it up.
They wrecked that house.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't even hers.
Which again, if he's ever been back to his house after the point that they are taken out of the story briefly, you'd think he would think something or know something.
Yeah.
Like the thing about this movie is there are little things in it that if you think about them too hard, if you nitpick them too much, they'll break you down. But like I said, even the thing I mentioned that I don't like, that being said, I get why it's there. Like, I understand it being there and it doesn't wreck anything. I was telling my wife we have a weird habit of like reviewing stuff in an order that makes us able to talk about stuff we've just reviewed. Like, we've already talked about Host, and then 3 episodes before this, we reviewed Beyond the Door 2. And I mean,
yeah,
it's you mentioned remaking. Someone should remake Shock. Did they already? You know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
I mean, it's not exactly a remake, but it's kind of like what you could get out of a remake of it.
I haven't been on Twitter much lately, but I did post for the shock
Oh, I
episode,
retweeted you.
and you're the only person. No one else seemed to fucking care or agree with me. No one said shit.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
Look here, boys.
I can
At
say
this
dumb
point,
shit on there, and people are like, "Oh yeah, fuck Tubi, blah blah blah. Oh, it's fucking stupid. Everything's standard def. Oh, I can't even get through one commercial break because they're 10 minutes long when they're like really 37 seconds." But I put
there was a
something
time.
like this out, and it's like, hey,
Yeah.
release Shock on Blu-ray. Fucking let Ari Aster remake it because he would do it phenomenally and put a modern twist on it, and nothing. Fuck all you
You
people.
and me come from a time when you could put literally anything on Twitter, and somebody would write back and say, hey, and comment on it, no matter how dumb it was. Till you can go on there and say you're about to hop off a building, and ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You know what I mean? It's just everybody wants to put out, but very little people want to communicate. It's peeing in the ocean right now. Is what it is, because
Yes,
it don't matter.
Like, that's the thing. I'll be honest. You'd think, and I'm not saying we're a big fish or anything. You'd think some of the stuff we said about Host, that we might have gotten some blowback for it.
I did one of my best jokes. I did one of my best jokes today. I said I traced back the start of everything going to hell in a handbasket with the world, and it started when they made "I Spit on Your Grave" Deja Vu. Okay, I said that's when it started. Okay, and the only person that even heard it was Dan Ellis, who was, BBK from Gutterballs. So
I haven't been on Twitter in like 5 days, so.
What I like.
Yeah,
if you had to be liked by anybody, that's a good person to be liked by.
I've been fucking running around like crazy.
Yeah, well, I have been meaning to repost your Roblox, but haven't done it yet.
I like to retweet stuff and all that, but I usually try to stay off of there because if I haven't seen a wrestling show, it usually spoils it for the most part.
It does do that.
But I was on there just because I wanted to know what the Cactus Jack deal was at McDonald's, so I was on there the other day.
I mean, I'm on it mostly to read the few people that I think put out good shit on Twitter, but in terms of what I put out there, I mean, unless I have a really freaking good idea or something that I really, really, really am angry about, it's just promoting the episodes, and that's about it. Because, I mean, it is just pissing into the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather if I'm looking for movie stuff these days, I'd almost rather just get on Letterboxd and just see what everybody's saying about stuff.
Honestly, I just kind of rather stumble upon it because usually I can't even trust Letterboxd. I mean, after all, remember, Letterboxd Host was the #1 movie on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure every system is corrupt. I mean,
I've never been on Letterboxd. Corrupt.
It's a good thing. I like it. Morbid is starting to get a little bit of a reputation. I mean, maybe not a good.
10 years in, I mean, that's great.
Yeah, right. Well, it's not 10, it's 7.
Yeah, you're the new Carpenter's thing.
Chuck, yeah, that's right, like saying you're not 40.
I'm not 40. I'm not. Okay. I am 37. Same age as Kenny Omega, all right?
Okay. Can you do a V-trigger, though?
Very badly. I've tried very badly.
So, back to Invisible Man. The ending, like, I liked what they were doing with the ending, and I like how the climax ended. Didn't care much for the little very ending. Does that make if that makes any sense?
The very ending is weird. It's very weird. Like
the rest. Are we to assume that this guy's like Batman? I mean,
you're
to
rich, assume
right?
he's Elon Musk. You're to assume he's Bruce Wayne. You're to assume he's Batman. Yes.
Well, I mean, because he sure took out a whole lot of security guards.
Yes, that's half of it. Is you're supposed. Yeah, but remember, he didn't. He was only punching them in once or shooting them in the leg. He's not killing them.
Oh.
So maybe he is Batman. But no, he's a technological, non-crime fighting Batman because, I mean, not spoilery, the movie shows you he's got the coat in the beginning, like well before anything happens. They show you the place where he keeps it,
right.
So he's already got the tech.
The house is awesome. Like the it literally that whole 5-minute opening scene of her elaborate escape.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I mean, you saw everything throughout the house.
Mhm.
Yeah, that dog pretty cool, you know.
Yes, there's a dog.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
didn't seem
just
like it was too interested in anything.
I don't want to harp on Host, but it just occurred to me. I was thinking about it, and it really does just make me not like it more and more because the scene where she's thinking that she knows where he is, and she takes the blanket and she throws it on the chair, and there's nothing there. I said, I know this is going to come back at some point. It never did. Ever. And I'm just saying.
You know, the big scene from all the trailers for this is she's like Elizabeth Moss is sitting on the floor, like staring at that old like vintage leather chair and saying somebody is sitting in that chair, and she's like freaking out and sweating. That's a deleted scene in this movie. That's
I was
not
going to say,
actually
so yeah, you know the story about Black Christmas Remake, right? Where
that
everything in
it's
the
not
trailer
good.
basically was, well, no, not that. Everything in the trailer was a cut scene. They filmed a whole
Which
bunch of
remake
shit.
are we talking about?
The not recent one.
Oh,
The other one.
The other
That
bad
Black
one.
Xmas.
the other one looks a lot better compared to this one, by the way.
What I'm saying is, like, that was how they did that one. Was a lot of people got pissed about it in one way because they saw the trailer, and the trailer has these really elaborate things with like garland and like a spinning like mower type thing, and none of that's in the movie. like they
That
just,
scene should have been in the movie
mm,
because it would just further make her look insane.
mm.
Because I mean they did a pretty good job at it, but I think that would have like thrown it over the top.
One of the things I think works about this movie, since I mentioned Beyond the Door 2 a minute ago, is that movie has a lot more ambivalence. You know pretty darn quick whether she's crazy or not, whether necessarily everybody believes her, and
Sure.
that kind of helps. Also, I don't think we talked about this, and it was something I kind of caught on to. The way he filmed this movie is really interesting because long before shit starts going down, there are these like weird shots where she's like all the way to the left of a shot or all the way to the right of a shot, and there's like this open space to the left or right, and you can tell what he's doing and is he's trying to make you think that something is there,
Yeah.
someone's there. What?
Or
Nothing's gone on yet. He's just amplifying tension and making you basically feel what she feels, and it's genius.
and then it finally does happen though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'm just saying, like before it happens, it's like you're just waiting. Like,
There's a
and he's not.
lot of lingering shots in this.
Mm-hmm. I just had a
Pretty
thought,
good.
but I'm not going to say it because I'm just going to be repeating myself. So I'm not going to say
It's,
anything else.
it's good stuff, you know. It's a well thought out movie. It's a well shot movie.
Mhm.
Very maybe Hitchcockian in some ways.
Yep.
I've been watching a lot of Hitchcock lately with the 4K set came, so
Yeah.
I can
I
make
could
the
I could
comparison.
see that, although I
Mhm.
think it's a little more polished, not polished, like glossier than a Hitchcock movie.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know.
It's new, but you
Well,
know.
no, not like in that. Like I mean, like it feel like Hitchcock. He had a budget, sure, but this feels like a bigger budget. You know, this feels like bigger studio kind of thing.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 4.
I was about to say, are we on dead air? Yeah.
I'm giving it a 4.
I'm gonna agree with that 4. There was a point where I was actually gonna give it a 4.5, but um, thinking back, it's about as much. It gave me the same feeling Beyond the Door 2 does in almost every way. I actually had to stop halfway through because I just needed a break because I was just really, really pulled in. But I will say that because of, like I said, it feels a little more glossy, a little more studio. You know, it feels a little bit, the hairest bit less like um, in your face because of that. That being
Yeah.
said, it is still. I told my wife, I said, you can't watch this. She said, why? And she needed like the list of isms, and I went, no, realism. I mean, it's phenomenal. Yeah, definitely a 4.
Well,
I
I personally, I think it may be the best movie of the year.
It may be.
I give it a 4.
There it is. 4
Um,
or 3 4s.
I do think it is At least of all the 2020 horror films that I've seen, the only films I've seen from 2020 are horror films. Aside from Trolls World Tour, which isn't bad, by the way. I watched it a few days ago again.
And
And what?
Scoob.
Oh, yeah, Scoob's good. I'm still mad about the the voice choices, but
Oh, of course, but yeah, I just
whatever.
couldn't resist. Chuck. Couldn't resist. Go ahead.
It's the best thing I've seen all year, hands down.
It's up there. Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? I will say, Chuck, I know you did. James, did you watch this in 4K by any chance?
I watched it in HDX.
Okay, so no.
But I watched it on a Pixel 3a. So was it 4K? Nah.
You watched it in 1080. That's fine. So in 4K, they did a lot of like scenes of people sitting at tables, mostly her and the doctor, her and her cop friend, her and attorney, and they did big close shots of their faces. And 4K did these people a grave disservice.
In some ways, I think that's the point. Like I said, realism.
Well, I mean, I know with her, she's in a hospital. Her skin's, she has no makeup, her skin's blotchy, all that. But other people, like the attorney, they did a close up on him, and he looked like he got punched in the face a handful of times.
Like I said, I think it's intended to make it feel more real. I don't know that for sure, but I mean, it would make sense in my head.
Actually, I only seen this in 1080 because I only have the Blu-ray. I don't have the 4K of it. Unless the Voodoo code is 4K.
I'm sure the Voodoo code can offer both options. So.
Voodoo, they're pretty stingy. If you buy something in 1080, you get a 1080 code.
Okay.
Sometimes if you buy a 4K, you get a 1080 code.
The only time I've seen that actually happen where I bought something that was one thing and got the other, well, I didn't buy it, but 3 from Hell was 4K on Voodoo while it was just 1080 on
The Hunt is 4K on Voodoo.
Yeah.
And because they don't even have a UHD disc out to buy.
Mm-hmm. Which I've almost bought it as a man on 4K because the local Family Video put it on sale, which I've got the Blu-ray, but I don't know. It'd be, I don't know if is it worth upgrading for the 4K this?
I mean, aside from those close-ups of the people, everything looked absolutely stellar. Especially like the night scenes, like when she runs out of the house and all that, looked excellent.
I have no comment on this, as you well know.
Obviously, yeah. I definitely recommend the UHD, and it's like $20, so. Or if you have a Family Video, buy it cheaper, I guess.
You need to recommend Physical Media, sir.
Huh? I just
Physical
did.
Media.
I just did. Recommend Physical Media. I'm just saying I have no reference on 4K.
Yeah, the UHD disc is like $20.
That's what they call that on Voodoo, though, right? UHD.
Well, it's 4K UHD. That's what it is.
Well, I just want to make sure.
Whatever that is on
HDX is 1080p.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I want to make sure that we're for certain what we're promoting.
We're talking about the 4K disc.
Is
that better? Is that better, Chuck?
That's better, way better.
Jesus Christ.
I'm an advocate for Physical Media.
Yes, you are.
I'm also ordained minister.
Speaking of Physical Media.
As I say, speaking of Physical Media and 4K related things and other such things, there's that.
I don't know if I want that.
You should be watching W's unboxing video if you haven't watched it yet. It's only like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I got several stuff.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it yet, by the time this is up, it'll have been up a while, so watch it.
It's not cool anymore, so we've already had it for weeks.
No. You know what's cool about it?
What's that?
I know what's cool about it. You have something that Chuck doesn't.
What's that? That what you just showed I don't have.
No, you definitely do, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you bought Enigma, right? And you bought Beast. You
got a slip.
You got slip covers, my friend.
Yeah. I also somehow purchased a Frankie and his pal sticker, and I'm not sure why or how I did that.
Why do I have a feeling that you didn't purchase it and they just kind of threw it in there?
No, I looked and I paid like $3 for this thing. I think I just
awful.
I clicked things when I was trying to check out.
I don't fully understand how you got the photo comic for free, because I didn't think that was. I mean, not for free. Purchased it separately. I didn't think that was a thing. If it was, I would have bought. I would have. You can't show that on there. I would have bought Train Dress and Mrs. Ward during that buy two get one sale. Because that's why I bought it from Severin sale, is because it could get it that way. So I got it. You're good. Yeah,
and I watched Frankie and his pals, and it's not good.
So, one piece of news: Severin announced, after they announced their recent slate of titles coming up in September, is they have a podcast now.
Oh.
Which we
thought you were going to talk about Cruel Jaws.
Oh, I'll get to it. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I was just going to say, their podcast, it's about what their new releases are. But this one, because it's the first episode after the sale, is about the sale. And one of the things they talk about is how one of the hosts of it got hold of Frankie and his pals originally and championed it, and like it was his baby. And they're basically just ragging on him to no end about how shitty the movie is, in essence. Like it was his project, basically, and they let him do the project, but the whole time they're basically like, this movie is utter garbage.
Well, who's the host of this podcast?
David Gregory shows up. I don't know about the other guys, but they're basically the people who work for Severin.
Oh. Yeah. Everybody's got a podcast.
It's a good podcast. It also has an extra half hour at the end where they play a lot of soundtrack music.
Is it video form or is it audio?
Audio is on Spotify where I listen to it. But I will say, like I said, the extra half hour at the end of it, they play a lot of soundtrack stuff. So there's like Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals in it a little bit, and some audio footage, some dialogue footage, some trailer sounds. It's pretty good for that half at the very least, since there aren't a lot of good, audio-only music horror podcasts anymore.
Yeah, well, they can't keep up with us, so they had to switch.
Of course. But
Tip of the sword.
I'll come back to Severin in a minute. Before I get into the rest of the stuff, real quick, rest in peace, since I think we recorded last, Chadwick Boseman. I know it's, by the time everybody sees this, it'll probably been about a month and a half since he died, but it still bears saying.
It's been a week in real time, so.
Yeah.
We allowed to do the Wakanda Forever pose on the air?
I don't think there's a reason why we can't, even though,
obvious reasons, of course.
No, the thing is, I don't believe that, at least in movie form, I don't believe that society is built around being a way for everyone. I mean, that's the point of the end of the movie, is they've let people in to kind of, exchange ideas. So.
That's good.
But anyway, so past that, I'm going to start actually with Scream Factory.
Oh,
4K.
I thought we were starting with Cruel Jaws. Okay.
No, we're starting with, I happen to have Scream Factory open. 4K, They Live.
It has begun.
Yep. 4K, They Live also.
I'm waiting for just a single disc, like just a disc. I don't want to pay $55 for.
Is there not just a single disc?
So I'm waiting. Site.
I think they offered on the site, but I'm waiting for like Jesse to get it or Amazon or something.
Yeah, it'll be cheaper that way. The offers they have on their site, of course, are you can get yourself a Keith David action figure. You can also get a soundtrack in bubblegum pink, soundtrack vinyl, which I know you bought Dance Commander bought the vinyl, right?
Yes.
I'm sure he did.
As I say. So those are out there. That's Scream Factory's big first 4K. They also announced and finalized their specs and extras for the Friday the 13th Blu-ray collection, of which the big news is that they got the uncut footage for Friday the 13th Part 2, as well as a utter shit ton of other special extra stuff on their extra bonus discs that they hadn't already announced. It would take me far.
Question. Okay. We know
it would take me far. It would just take me far too long to read it all off. So yeah, go ahead.
It's reading the phone book at this point. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like, is this going to be like the Halloween thing, where, the only way you're supposed to be able to get the producer's cut is the big box set, but then later on the producer's cut comes out solo. Is this uncut too going to get solo released later on from Paramount or somebody?
Hey Chuck, do you have that big Halloween box set?
I don't have that, but I do
You
have
walked
the
into that.
producer's cut.
Walked into that one, Chuck. No
I have
offense.
everything in it. I have everything in it, but the box. So
And the box is the whole thing. I mean, it's like a giant slipcase.
buy it for me. I'll have it.
I've already got
Fork
one.
it over.
Yeah,
It's
all right.
yours. I'll take yours then.
Yeah.
I
told you.
Steve, it would have been better if you just had it next to you there.
Yeah.
But,
So this opens the floodgates for the 4Ks from Shout Factory,
Yep.
Screen Factory. So I assume, in the same way they did the Steelbooks, that all the first 4Ks we're going to get is going to be Prince of Darkness and all that stuff.
if they have the rights to it, they said originally that it's just the same extras.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say there's anything new other than that it's 4K disc.
That's good enough for some people.
I didn't buy.
That's what they
Like
said first.
I only bought that Big Trouble Steelbook because I never had it on Blu-ray to begin with.
Right.
And it was like $17.
That's what I'm saying. It's a little, it's a touchy thing about it there, basically.
The slipcase don't look like a slip case. It looks like a slip box from the picture. Now, that could be wrong.
I think you're wrong. I believe it slips down. Slipcase.
Missed opportunity.
I would buy those, though, on 4K. I want them in 4K.
Of course. Now, Severin, on the other hand, now we're getting to Severin. They did Massacre in Dinosaur Valley coming out in September. October, technically. It ships at the end of the month. Primitives, which is, both of those are apparently video nasties. David Gregory said on the podcast his goal is to try and get as many of them as possible released by Severin with full special editions, etc. But the big news was, because everybody's been waiting for it, Bruno Mattei's one and only Jaws 5, a.k.a. Cruel Jaws.
So, did you order that?
I did not.
Because there's an episode, and I just edited it, and I think I sent it to you guys to look at, and I'm pretty sure in said episode that you said, and we're going to paraphrase here, that when we were talking about Severin and me not having my shit,
I'd pay full price if it came out.
That you would pay full price, and it would be like a day one purchase for you when it came out.
Situations and money change. That being said, part of the actual thing that actually stopped me is the fact that they also included what I was about to talk about, which is, so to make it a special thing, they just decided to go whole hog with it. They have the regular version. They have a slipcover that was only available for a week as we record this, and is no longer. It's Severin, so I have to do this. No longer available, which says Jaws 5, to prevent Universal and such from suing them.
Yeah, because they didn't even display it. They just said it was artwork that they couldn't show.
Yep, it's blurred. Yeah.
It'd be like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, yes. Yep.
How can they still not get sued for that?
I mean, I think that Universal probably knows enough not to try and sue them over it, but that's also why they only did it for a week. But they also did, though, because they're rolling out the red carpet for it, Cruel Jaws water guns, a Cruel Jaws, I think it says probably Sharkamania or something, Hulk Hogan style bandana. They said they couldn't actually get the actor for an interview for the Blu-ray on the podcast, but they did that in tribute instead. But the big thing, and the reason I didn't get it yet, because it would have made too much money at that point, was in the bundle, they had a novelization written. Like, it wasn't already existing. They said they had a guy watch the movie, and he said that it needed to have more this and that. So they said, well, you could write a novelization and put whatever you want. And so he basically made a novelization where he amped up what already is apparently a crazy movie with even more. Basically, yeah. That's what the novelization is. And that's why
I thought you were going to say that they went all out and made a toilet seat Cruel Jaws sticker.
Oh, yes, you're right. I forgot. They did make a toilet seat Cruel Jaws sticker. Yes.
No,
I was more interested in the book.
Who's coming up with all this stuff?
I will see that eventually, one day, when this pandemic is gone and Dance Commander walks outside again for the first time in God knows how long. And I go over to his townhouse. I'm going to lift his toilet seat up and I'm going to look at Cruel Jaws. And I'm going to piss all over the seat.
Of course you will. But I will get it. That's the thing. I haven't bought it yet. I'm not saying I won't buy it. I'll probably buy it in mid October, honestly. But yeah, just the fact that they went, here it is, and here's this book, and I went, fuck, because I'm like, great. It would have been a $30 price. That would be a $45 or $50. No, I can't do that right now.
Well, you could have still just bought the disc.
Yeah, but I want the book. I very much want the book.
How long did it take this guy to write this book?
I don't know. They didn't say that. But
maybe that's why it took him so long to release the movie.
But apparently, it's he's like a super fan of Cruel Jaws, and that's why he did it.
Oh.
That didn't mean he was talented, though, right? So this could be the worst book ever.
Which, it's Cruel Jaws in a Bruno Mattei film. Why would that not be the way it's supposed to be?
I might take this to the Jesus Furniture store and read it.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
They might like it.
You might.
So Mondo Macabro is getting ready for their October sale. Trying to find the information about it, but basically, they sent an email out. They're going to have 3 new titles for their October sale. They've announced 2 of them, and one of them is going to be a secret until the sale actually happens. It is Mondo Macabro, of course, so you probably have not heard of either one of them. And I'm saying that with all due love and respect because I adore Mondo Macabro, but come on now, it's Mondo Macabro. So one of them is... where's that name? Queens of Evil. Queens of Evil, they announced it. They call it an Italian psychedelic occult thriller. It's going to have a 2-disc set, and because everybody got in on the act, it's going to have a slipcover. But the other thing is, since I know for a fact that I'm pretty sure at least one of you got the Living Dead at Manchester Morgue steelbook.
Mine hasn't shipped yet, but I ordered it.
The second one they announced is Blood Ceremony, a.k.a. Ceremony Sangrienta, a.k.a. Legend of Blood Castle, by the director of The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. Yeah, it's apparently a classic of Spanish horror.
I don't know why we don't just stick with the Let Sleeping Corpses line,
Hey, don't look at me. I'm just going by...
Because I like that title better.
But yeah, basically, it's apparently a Countess Bathory story.
Yeah.
But it's going to be by the same guy, so it's going to probably be very interesting. But they're keeping their third title close to their vest.
It's the Indian Nightmare on Elm Street.
Bollywood.
That would be great, man. You kidding me? I would buy Mahakal in a second. I've got it in the other room.
Yeah.
Never seen it. I should.
I bought Lizard in a Woman's Skin when they announced it as a special edition Blu-ray. So that's the only red reversible cover Mondo Macabro Blu-ray I have. I would make an exception for Mahakal.
Well, or it could be the
I've got
remember the Bollywood. Yeah, the Bollywood Friday 13th. Remember that?
They never released that, but if they do it again, I would do that.
I didn't realize that Satan's Slave was supposed to be a Phantasm remake.
Apparently.
I
don't understand how, but Vinegar Syndrome apparently is working on doing Escalofrio, Satan's Blood. It was originally done as a Katarina's Nightmare Theater Scorpion title. I have that version of it, I believe. No, it was a Mondo Macabro title. I have that version of it. And then somehow Scorpion got the rights to it and released it once. And now Vinegar Syndrome is going to do it on Blu-ray. And I will tell you, personally, it's just freaking weird. I don't think it's that great, but it's an interesting little weird Spanish satanic movie.
Oh, weird can be good.
Also, there was apparently a minute on like a podcast or something where one of the people from Arrow said they're getting ready to do one of the big 80s slashers. And everyone thinks it's Nightmare on Elm Street, which is probably fucking not. But because you got to release.
Consider big. There's only like 3 things.
That's what I'm saying. Like I would say Nightmare on Elm Street, but if you're gonna do Nightmare on Elm Street, the same year that Scream Factory's doing Friday the 13th, the whole damn thing, That would just be stupid unless you're doing the whole damn thing.
Well, how do we know? I mean, maybe they're doing the whole damn thing of Friday 13th for the UK.
It's possible.
I mean, could be. You know.
It is possible.
It could be a 4K. Well, somebody said 4K Halloween. There's already a 4K Halloween.
Yes, there is.
There's two.
Yeah.
Is there two?
Yeah, there's the one that came out like a year ago, and then there's a new steelbook that looks awesome.
Same transfer though.
I don't know.
Probably. I wouldn't be shocked if, since I was watching your old Friday the 13th steelbook unboxing today, to reference it, I wouldn't be shocked if it was another. Let's throw the same disc in another case one.
Oh yes, that old trick. But I don't know. I mean, somebody was saying, well, it could be big to us, but not necessarily big to the world, right? So it could be maybe the Prowler or something along those lines.
I
4K.
think that would be great if they did Prowler in 4K or anything at all.
Yeah. Could be, I don't know, maybe Humongous or something. I don't know. I mean, it's like there's a few movies that
I would
like
love it for me to Humongous.
Yeah.
Considering how crap I have it, and considering how crap the Scorpion transfer was, but
Well, now they did
You should
that-
see my transfer previous to the Scorpion transfer.
well,
What,
seeing as you
DVD?
collect hard boxes.
Oh,
No, this was just a bootleg.
VHS?
Yeah, VHS rip, and
you didn't see nothing.
you couldn't see shit.
But the thing is, though, is like I had the DVD for years, and I remember like when they asked the guy about it for years, he was like, "Well, there's no HD master," and all of a sudden now there's Blu-ray, which I've not watched the Blu. I've had the Blu-ray, but I've not watched it. But I heard it looked okay. You say it looks bad?
What?
I'll have a DVD.
I'm talking about DVDs. There's no Blu-ray.
There is a Humongous Blu-ray. I have it over here.
Okay, I
What the
haven't
fuck?
seen it then.
I even have it with a slipcase. So hold on a minute.
And now, momentary pause while Chuck finds his Blu-ray. Well, I mean, if you think about like possibly big slashers, I mean, they're not going to do Child's Play because Scream Factory has it. They're not going to do, that would be the only other thing. Would be like if they got something Scream Factory was just losing, that would be stupid, but they could do it,
There it is.
And from who
I
would
can't-
that come?
Wait, put it back up there,
If it-
asshole.
From who?
It's Scorpion release.
Of course it is. Ronan / Code Red.
Is
It's
it?
just it's a
I have that. I have that artwork somewhere. I have that.
It's on the
so-
DVD.
So they use the DVD. The artwork you see on the Blu-ray is on the DVD. The slipcover,
Yeah,
though, you have that artwork.
that's different.
The slipcover is different.
And this is brand new on-camera interview, but it says the 2016 master of the R-rated cut.
So
R-rated.
So most
or
likely, then that's the exact same transfer, or they might have done a quick rerun of the transfer on the old one. Because I think the old one came out in like 2014 or 2015.
Someone had flipped the art around because when you open it up, the new art is right there, which should be the art.
Are you sure the DVD has that art? Because
It don't have the new art. It has the one that
It has the old art. The DVD has the
Yeah.
old art. The one you have right there. That's the DVD. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Blu-ray has a slip with new art, and that has a reversible cover.
Okay.
Which
Well,
I-
so
but
then I
I-
have the Blu-ray somewhere. I have it. I know I do. I don't remember what. I think it still looks like
It
bad
doesn't have the slip.
I'm pretty sure that the
It's got a
old
slip.
DVD was
because I have that
a
artwork.
Catalina Nightmare thing, right?
Catalina wine mixer.
Katarina. Katarina
Yeah.
Nightmare Theater. Yes, with the original DVD. In
Well,
fact,
I
it wouldn't
got-
shock me if they put the bumpers around it again too, because they like to keep those.
I ended up getting rid of the DVD. I think I gave it to one of my friends after I got the Blu-ray, so I no longer have it for reference.
Funny story, by the way. She's a very nice person because there was a thing where she posted on Twitter that she was selling more of the Katarina's Nightmare Theater stuff, and I looked and I didn't have a bunch of them, so she was doing like a get 3 for a discount. And then when you order it from her website, she goes, "Do you want them signed?" And I said, "No, no thanks. I just wanted the movies because I like to have a lot of those." So they come, and this is inside of them.
Oh wow!
And I'm
It's all,
just like,
it's all blurred, but I get it.
you get the idea. I didn't pay for it, but personalized autograph. Yeah.
That was for her own ego.
Of course it was, but that's
'Cause,
beside the point.
You're like, she's like, well, this guy don't want me to sign these. Which I think at this point, I don't think I have hardly anything left that she actually was on because the Blu-rays come out and I got them later. But I do have like All American Nightmare or whatever that is. That at one time the price for it had went up ungodly for some reason. It's a terrible movie. But I think that was her.
I think I've only got the Humongous and maybe a Slasher that she did.
Final Exam.
Nope.
Probably.
She's on Final Exam. She was on a bunch of random stuff that they did.
For the record, right now on her website, she's selling for $7 each only, because before it was 8 of these movies, now there's only 4 left. Devil's Men and Terror 2-pack, Final Exam, The Carpenter, uncut,
well, that's a weird movie.
And The Devil Within Her.
Well, those wouldn't be too bad to own, just to own them. Because
I've never seen The Carpenter.
She's selling them for like $7 each. Why wouldn't I?
Well, The Carpenter's on Tubi. It's interesting.
Maybe I'll watch it.
That's right. I was gonna watch it forever, and then I finally, I never did buy it, so finally I just did that and watched it there.
I think that's pretty much all I got because I don't think I got anything new from Kino or anything. And
did we talk about Massacre Video putting out a box set with those 3 hard to get films?
We talked about that last time.
Okay, all right. They're doing an Avon thing, some kind of Avon movie thing. Like it's called the Avon box set or something. I guess it's movies that were only available through Avon or something. And apparently, if it does well, they have another one, and they claim the names of the movies and stuff that people actually want. It'll get better if they buy the first one.
Of course they will. Sure they will.
I didn't know Avon sold movies like porn or something. I mean,
wrong Avon.
Oh, I don't know.
Avon. Oh, Chuck's thinking about the pyramid scheme makeup company.
Yeah. I thought they had maybe movies in the books or something.
No.
Everybody in my hometown used to be Avon salesman back in the 90s and late 80s. Good days,
Trying to think of anything else that was a big deal in terms of 4K, and not really. I mean, a lot of places are starting up their Halloween stuff, so Shudder's in their 61 Days of Halloween. My favorite was when Fear Fest on AMC said they're going to do it all month this year, and I said, oh, you mean like you fucking used to?
Well, I mean, this is like the year that nobody's going to be able to trick or treat anyway, right?
Thank you for the segue. I warned them. I mentioned earlier I was going to do a minor rant, which is I saw someone post on Facebook that, and I've seen it a few times, someone talking about how we shouldn't let them take Halloween from us, and that we should exercise our freedom and, buy some candy, and kids should come to the houses and you should give them candy. And okay, I'm not against giving kids candy. If you get kids at your house, give them candy. That's what you should do. It's Halloween. Stop making this a political damn thing. This is not a political thing. It's a fucking pandemic. If you want to go out in it, that's great. Halloween is Halloween regardless. Most people can't be like Chuck W. and myself and basically make Halloween every single damn day. They can't do that. But if you add a little bit throughout the year, you don't ever lose Halloween. You just don't have, it the whole way. And if anything, no one's going to take it from you. No one's trying to, oh, you can't celebrate it. Watch a fucking movie.
True.
The Grinch that stole Halloween, right?
Yeah, exactly. There is a Grinch Halloween special, by the way. It's fucking weird. It's called Halloween is Grinch Night. It's fucking bizarre. It's actually kind of terrifying, honestly. I tried to watch it with my wife. I think it's on YouTube. It is bizarre.
Is it like legitimate, like Dr. Seuss, or?
Yes. Oh yes.
Here's what I recommend. Either do it on that night before Halloween. Do it on Halloween night. Get in, cut the lights a little bit low. Watch about an hour or two block on YouTube of Halloween commercials from when you was a kid.
Oh, I got so many of those.
That's the best time. Pop some popcorn. Watch the same Halloween movies you watch every other day of the week. Maybe Joe Bob will have a special on Halloween night. Watch that. Buy yourself a Kit Kat.
Oh, he's supposed to have a Halloween special somehow. They've already said that. They haven't said what it is yet, but they're supposed to do something.
Buy yourself a Kit Kat. Send me a DM and order a copy
Every
of Screwdriver.
Halloween, once the kids are done doing what they do, my wife and I watch Halloween 3, Trick or Treat, and Trick or Treat.
Well, I used to be like a Halloween. It used to be Halloween on Halloween night. But last year I switched it up, and for like 2 years in a row now, I've watched Tales of Halloween on Halloween, and I watched Trick or Treat, the rock and roll Trick or Treat last year.
Sammy Kerr.
Yes, on a bootleg Blu-ray.
This is the list I made. You can't see it; it's blurry. I know. Just
Looks like
there's realize there's 4 lines on this piece of paper, 4 columns, all written, plus moral on the top that I made early on when I first started dating my wife. That I told her she could watch or we could watch that she probably wouldn't have any real issue with, and I've probably cut or like slashed through on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like maybe 15 tops. That's maybe a tenth of this list. That's what we do every month, every October. Is I'm like, which things do you want to watch, or do you want me to pick them out this time, and I'll do it. Just do whatever you can, you know. And the thing is, that's what you can do in October. But there is also not a damn thing from stopping you from doing it in March. I mean, just do it when you want to do it, and let your flag fly. You know.
With pants on.
Exactly. For the record, by the way, Halloween is Grinch Night is a 1977 Halloween television special that's a to How the Grinch Stole Christmas. When they made it, Boris Karloff, sadly, was already dead, so they replaced his voice actor. But the original singer, the guy who did Tony the Tiger, he's back doing songs. And the gist of it is, around Halloween in Whoville, there's a weird wind that blows through, and the Grinch comes down and just wreaks havoc in town because it's Grinch night. And so all the people in town like hide, basically.
No,
and
no,
so
no.
in
Ain't
essence,
he already cool with them at this point?
Prequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But basically, like, this movie is so dark in terms of as a Dr. Seuss movie goes. I'm going to read to you. First of all, Max, for the record, is visibly depressed throughout the special. But
yeah.
there's a point at the end, and it says this on the Wikipedia. The last sentence of it is that Grinch laments he will miss the Grinch Night Ball, but finds solace in that the wind will be coming back someday. I'll be coming back someday, and then sinisterly laughs. It is dark as shit.
I'm gonna
Which
look
is
this
why
up.
no one knows about it.
See, David Lynch directed a Grinch show. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
So there's your Halloween suggestion for the year. Go find a YouTube copy of Halloween's Grinch Night and freak the shit out of yourself.
these aren't horror, but 4K releases that got announced. Leon the Professional
Oh yeah.
and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yes, they did. Yes.
And Blade.
Really?
Yes.
Great. Can they get all 3 of them on a set or something again?
Is that Warner Brothers?
Are any of those any good?
Blade
Yes.
2.
The first 2.
I watched the first
just-
2 and I hated both.
I just want to see Blade 2 because I want to see the Guillermo del Toro movie. I've not
Blade-
seen any of them, but I just want to watch Blade 2.
Blade 2 was like I seen it in theaters twice. I liked it when I was young.
Which one had Triple H in it?
That was
Trinity.
terrible. It's terrible. It's
That
got
one
Ryan
also had
Reynolds.
Jessica Biel and Ryan Reynolds in it, so there you go.
Yeah. But now, new 4K releases that I've got in my midst, is the Goonies and Beetlejuice that came out.
I kind of want both of those.
I believe W has a new 4K release in his midst, named Pitch Black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's a great movie.
That's what I'm told by you.
Yeah. Sci-fi horror-ish. Look here. If you're worried about the Riddick, which is part 2, Riddick is the sequel or whatever. Look, this is nothing like Riddick. It's got Riddick in it, but it's nothing like Riddick.
Okay, I don't know anything about it.
I rented this at the video store when I was a kid. It's good.
When you're a kid.
Yeah.
You're opening yourself up, Chuck.
What year was this? It was like 98, 99, something like that, wasn't it? What's the year on this movie?
So you're saying you were a teenager?
Maybe early teens. What? Give me the year. Give me the year on it.
He's looking it up.
2000.
So yeah, I was a sophomore in high school, I think.
Yeah, teenager.
Okay. Good day.
For the
Depending
record,
on what part of the year it was, I was in 8th or ninth grade.
I was about 8th or 9th, maybe 10th, somewhere in there.
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Now, how old are you? I'm older than you. So.
Oh, you're older than both of us, yeah.
Yeah, so like I was 2000, I had to be like a sophomore or something because.
Well, I don't remember how old
You'd have
I
been.
was.
You'd
By
have been.
what
What
year?
year did you graduate, Chuck? Let's do it that way.
2002.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, okay, I would have been a freshman.
But now I had to repeat first grade twice, so.
Like you had to repeat it twice, or you were
I
in
had
it
to do it
twice?
twice. I had to do it twice because I missed
Okay.
half the year because I got scarlet fever.
Gotcha.
So I had to redo it. So.
Hmm.
Which is a heck of a disease, by the way, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially for a young lad like you, Mr. Connery.
Exactly. I also had the 2 Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. on 4K. I'm not really excited about those, but they are here.
At what age do we stop calling him Chuck and start calling him Charles?
Never.
I actually call him Charles quite a bit.
I know you do.
Yeah. So I it's like, in my life when I've been employed, those few times.
That day and a half at Walmart.
I'm like, I was at another place for like 3 months last year, and my first goal was, I'm not Charles, I'm Chuck.
I'm not Jim. I'm not Jim. I'm James.
Yeah. Yeah. Did we ever get to talk about how great those new Blue Underground 4Ks were, by the way?
The new ones?
House by Cemetery, New York.
I've watched House by the Cemetery. It looks great. Sound is not great, but it never will be.
We've come a long way from the old DVD.
For sure.
Bob's still annoying.
Mommy.
I mean, that movie. Every time I watch that movie, I feel like I'm finally figuring out more about it. Because the first time I ever seen that movie, like 2009, first time I ever seen that movie, it was so strange. I don't think everything about it registered, at the time. The ghost girl or whatever it is, and then the doctor. What's his name? Floydenstein or what's his name? Freudstein. Yeah. Like I think now at my age, it's finally making more sense. You gotta really love this era of Fulci.
Well, the time I saw it was one of those Hudson Horror Fest 35mm things. My wife was with me, so I got to see it in a bundle with Gone with the Pope.
Wow.
That followed it up. Inframan.
I don't know what that is.
Japanese kaiju stuff. Oh. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And Army of Darkness. And that was the lead. That was the lead off. I thought it was okay. Wife wasn't as big a fan of it.
First time I ever. Well, it just so happens I mentioned it. It's within
I'm more of a City of the Living Dead guy.
It's within arm's reach. This was the first time I ever seen it. This was a bootleg that a former friend of mine that lives in Chicago sent me back in the day.
The hell of a cover.
Region free. It's bootlegged all the heck. But I got a box in the mail that was featuring cookies and posters and that this former friend of mine in Chicago sent me back in the day.
That's a current friend of mine, right?
Is she a current friend of yours? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Who can say anymore, right? I don't want to rant.
We're not doing that.
Nope. I got my Halloween rant off. It's the only rant we need.
But,
we don't need a Chuck's love life rant.
If anybody knows, love life. If anybody knows who I'm talking about, feel free to show them this episode and say, hey, look, he still got it.
They'll cherish it forever.
W will let them know, I promise.
With all the 4K transfers of it I've got, with all the HD transfers of it I've got, I've still got the old bootleg. That was probably bought some dungeon in Chicago, Illinois.
So. W, is that a Barnabas Collins shirt?
Is that?
Dark Shadows, that is?
This is a Diabolic DVD shirt.
Okay, the vampire looks familiar. Okay, nah, it's just yeah.
It's a mentally handicapped vampire.
Yeah, we're just all going in different directions today. You've got Diabolic, Chuck's got Scooby-Doo, and I've got Tommy.
Yeah. So it's time we sign off on this episode, because we've done ranted for too long.
Of course.
And we still got one more to do.
Yep.
and I'm tired.
You're breaking the mystique, Chuck. That's what
I'm breaking the third wall.
Yeah.
Well, our editor can snip out whatever you don't want to use.
And add things in.
Yes, he can.
I have added things in. I know Chuck doesn't watch any of the episodes or go through them, so he's not seen some of the things pop up on screen.
I don't watch the episodes. I really don't. I didn't ever listen to any of our old shows after we recorded them either.
That's fine.
So, you know,
I wouldn't if I didn't have to like go through and snip things or somebody talking about something they're going to get in the mail that they're not allowed to talk about, and I got to go through and fucking watch the entire thing and cut pieces of it out.
Have that,
oh, thank God I never have that issue.
And I still don't have what we were talking about that we can't talk about. But now, I should go back though now since you got me paranoid now about what's on these episodes. But
don't get too.
It just recently started, so
don't get too paranoid. It's just a hashtag.
Oh, okay. I want to go back anyway because I'm thinking about converting these to audio form.
Go for it.
Put them
Apparently, there's demand.
Yeah, people's like, "Where's the audio version?" Maybe we can get it on Spotify.
I can do that real easily. Really easily.
Send me the files and I'll put them online.
Okay.
We'll do it.
You heard it here first. If it's not online, it's Chuck's fault.
And with that,
we'll start a new hashtag. Fuck you, Chuck.
There it is.
No, the hashtag is, why is it not audio, Chuck?
Where's the audio, Chuck?
If you send it to me during the week, it'll be up a lot quicker than the weekend. I got a DDT people on weekends, you know.
You're an announcer.
You're retired.
I'm not an announcer. I went back and DDT'd old boy Ethan.
You're retired.
Yeah. You're never retired in wrestling till you're dead, by the way.
Did James Ellsworth do anything to you there, pal?
No, he didn't send me no pictures on Snapchat or nothing like that. But,
no, I meant, did he do anything to you in the ring, man?
No, I didn't interact with James Ellsworth. I mean, he gave me the old fist bump when he came into the ring. But when he came out, you know, because you both shake hands, but he just wanted to do a fist bump for some reason.
God, I have no idea what that would be.
Also, this is last story. We can end this. You cut this out of the episode if you don't want to. But this is an interesting story. It's a quick story. Me and Ethan went around back to converse about what we was going to do that night. And then there's like this little lake or whatever, like this little pond that's in the back of the building. And there's a whole trail of woods that goes deep, deep far back into there. And nobody knew this, but for some reason, James Ellsworth was down there by himself for a long time. So he just came crawling out of the woods when me and Ethan were out back. And I often wonder, what was this man doing in the woods?
Talking to his mother.
Yeah. That would be the good thing, right? I mean, there's a million things a man could allegedly be doing by himself in the woods, right?
And
maybe
with
he's
that,
on drugs. Who knows?
And before we get sued for libel, or
slander, I have to work with these people, so okay.
I'm not cutting it out, Chuck.
Nope.
I don't care. Let James Ellsworth watch it. I've seen him twice in 2 years.
That's more than I've seen him.
Yep.
He's very short, by the way. I'm almost as tall as he is.
Was it about like maybe just like I mean, he's taller than you?
Yeah,
just a hair.
Oh, I was going to say, because it may have been just that was it by a chin that you were taller than him?
that is very weird in person, that whole chin situation.
I believe it. And with that note,
yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you're still here and listening to this bullshit, like, share, subscribe, and all that stuff, and tune in next week and tell Chuck to shut up.
Ask him where the audio is.
Ask him where the audio is. Because he's got like 5 weeks to do it at this point.
I still have it. I still have it.